You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Today's guests are Jeff KLECK and Wayne McVicker, co-founders of Neoforma and Attainia, Inc. You talked about this open door policy where everybody can see each other and hear each other. How are you able to keep the company in control and yet let them know that what you folks say is the bottom line and not let it get out of hand?
You know, the folks that we work with understand that they can come to us anytime and voice any issue. In fact, more often than not, they don't even, with that open environment, you know, everyone shares the same things going on. If you have a common mission, that's the right way, I think, to have a company. You know, certainly there's some things that are dealt with at the board level and the top management of the company, and some things that, you know, are best suited, you know, just kind of moving through the ranks of the company. And everyone can't be involved in every single process. But it's really empowering to your employees if you let them participate and let them hear some degree of what's going on. It helps move the company forward. It's the right thing.
And
go ahead.
I'd add a little color to that there's two parts of it. One is hiring the right people, which over time we've learned, you know, to avoid the big mistakes of hiring those that just don't have that level of commitment or openness to the environment, and uncertainty, which is inherent in a startup company. And that's really a key part of making sure that environment works. And then the other is to make it clear when we make a decision that it's a clear decision and that's what we're going to do, versus we're soliciting input on this and also mutually respecting when we get input spontaneously, listening to it sincerely, and that develops the environment.
Can you tell us a story about how you came to that conclusion that hiring the right people is going to be absolutely key to what you're doing?
Yeah, by hiring the wrong people and seeing how bad it works in the other direction.
Early on in the company, it's so key, those first few people, because they establish the foundation of the culture that's going to live for decades, ideally. And the wrong hire can really set the company in the wrong direction. It needs to absolutely keep everything on focus. So hiring the right people and making sure that, you know, we're both involved in those key decisions, just making sure that the people are really those creative people that we want on board early on.
And, do you mind sharing with us more information in regards to your hiring process? Because if I came in to interview with you, I'd put my best foot forward. So what steps do you go through to really find out who I am and what my desires are to really help your company succeed?
Sure. Well, you know, it's hard always to know what your best foot is, though, right? You might have, you know, some impression of what I want to hear, and we've done enough of this that, you know, we can filter through that pretty quickly. And we ask a lot of questions, and, you know, we make sure the person is comfortable. But at the end of the day, when, you know, if it's the wrong person and you're a good interviewer, they realize it's the wrong place for them to be as well, too. Whereas if it's the right person, because you've been telling them about your company at the same time they've been telling you about themselves, you figure out, because of the energy that comes from them, they get that much more excited if they've heard the right things about your company.
What's the most important thing you learned from your first company that you use now in your second company?
Oh, whoa. Well, for me, it's when you making the right decisions quickly and then moving on very quickly. Getting into the world of, was that the right decision? Should we go back and look at that? Is just not the right place to be. So we're much more efficient, I'd say, than we were in the first company, because we have a little bit of experience behind us. We know what kind of things work and why they work and what things don't work, because we've made some of those mistakes, and then we avoid those.
How about for you, Wayne? What's the most important thing you learned from Neoforma that you use now in Attainia?
Well, certainly patience and persistence, and when one makes a decision, sticking with it for a long time. I mean, trusting your gut, as we talked about with employees, that things don't happen overnight, and there's always mini crises. When you start a company, things come right and left continuously. You have good days and bad days, but having gone through it the first time and seeing this incredible turbulence we saw, this time around, when something just goes awry, the servers are acting up, or some software problem, or the customer's upset about something, we know now to just it'll pass, and that level of patience manages the stress level and also keeps us focused, and so we're not always reacting to external circumstances.
It's kind of funny because you guys are kind of like yin and yang. Because he said make a quick decision to move, and yours patience, persistence.
Yeah, somewhere in between the answer.
So yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.